Starting the recording. Hey everyone, this is OotiniCast episode 436. This is being recorded on the 29th of March 2022, and this is the raw version of the show with any flubs and flaws intact, and we will then clean it up and put it out as a podcast the next day. Let me go ahead and looks like the stream is up. Looks like Bo's already in there. Treats is already in there. Hey everyone, and I'll go ahead and get the tweet out, and then we'll get going. We've got a first-time guest, Caber, so I'm excited to have Caber with us today.
Check. Sorry, my Audacity turned off, so I'm giving it another looky-loo here.
Okay. Just made me want to check mine. Okay, it's still working.
1, 2, baby. All right, that should be fine. Okay, all right. Okay, let's see. Then we got that. That's running. Shut up, me. There we go. Pop this out. I got a very specific way that I like this setup.
Okay.
There we go.
Still working on the tweet here. I'm somehow making all kinds of typing errors on my little thumb thing here.
Typos.
There we go.
On a...
Okay, it's tweeted out. We're good. We still have a whole minute before the top of the hour. As you know,
we're like, go. All right.
Usually we're starting the stream around the top of the hour, which I think is still pretty reasonable, but it's all good.
Okay. Yay, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right. And it looks, the audio looks good on the OBS, so I think we're good to go. And usually our chat folks are pretty good about letting us know if like something doesn't sound right or what, but it's all good. And see, Niner, hey. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that rarely acts with a singular motivation. This is episode 436, being recorded on Tuesday, March 29th, 2022. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, Kitty Kisses. Hey, Kitty.
Hey, Chill.
Hey, and I'm happy to say we have a first-time guest here, and it's Caber. Hey, Caber, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Excellent. And so tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and what you like to do within SWTOR.
Okay. Well, I'm in real life, I'm an IT support rep, which
nice.
is, never a dull moment. I live in the state of Florida, so if you see some sun glaring through the window, it's pretty hot and sunny right now.
Nice. And I understand that we might have a dog in the background at some point too.
Yes, my dog Sarah. She wants to get in and be part of the show, so she likes to walk past every now and then. So.
Okay. No worries.
But I've been a really long-time listener of your show, and I'm really excited to be on here.
Yeah.
So you do such a great job. You're always so fun and positive, and
yeah,
I have a great time listening to your show.
Thanks. And, well, we're happy to have
you. It's awesome because every time I email you on Twitter, you're quick in responding, and I love that. So it's pretty awesome.
We do our best. That's all I can say.
I listened to this show way back when. I think I used to alternate between Bad Feeling Podcast and your podcast.
Yeah,
I think it was Tio was on, actually. He was the original co-host, right?
Yep.
From what I remember. Yeah, and he was really cool, but it just seemed like every time I would listen to the show, he was progressively getting less and less interested in being on the show. So I felt kind of like,
what happened.
I feel bad for him. He got busy with life, so I get it.
He really did.
I guess
he did finally he finally said, you know what, I'm not enough in the game to continue being the host, and I really need to step down. And I admire him for that. It was very ethical of him. So, and he's still doing fine. He's still doing great for the people who wonder. Yeah, he's still doing great. Still in Australia. Still with the gal he met by playing SWTOR, and they've got 2 kids now and a dog and all that stuff. It's all good.
Awesome. Yeah, he was fun to listen to, and then I guess you came in with Dr. Gamology, and he was really good, and I loved the difference that he would bring to the show. Everything was very logical, and he would give you a different view of things. But
Yep.
I have to say honestly, like ever since Kitty Kisses joined, it's been like a turning point for me with the show because Kitty
Okay.
he just brings so much enthusiasm and charisma to the show. He
Yeah.
just puts everything into such a fun light. I really enjoy listening to him. You're awesome, Kitty. You did such a good job.
Oh,
And
thank you. My
I
camera
think
just died. We were just talking about my camera, and now it's all done.
and it looks so good too.
And you're biting your lip.
Right?
On my
great
picture,
camera.
on my picture, and therefore on the stream, you're just biting your lip for like a minute there. Oh, you're live again. Hello.
But yeah, I mean, it was always. I think you were on one of the shows. I listened to you on one of these earlier shows, and I heard you, and you were advertising your Twitch. And I jumped on your Twitch, and I was watching you, and you were talking about shopping for boxers. And I thought, hey, if this guy could stream Star Wars and do a podcast about Star Wars: The Old Republic and talks about boxers, then hey, I gotta get involved with this more. It was just so much fun. It was funny. It was really funny.
That's great. And what do you like to do in SWTOR?
I love to play my alts. I listen to you guys all the time, and Chill, I know you're a big altaholic too.
Oh
so
yeah, Kitty and I both are.
constantly I'm into my alts. I've got multiple accounts, multiple characters. I love alting and leveling. That's my thing in SWTOR. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so it was just kind of I grew up playing Star Wars Galaxies, and I jumped over here when it was time for it to launch. So
Nice.
I've been here ever since. So.
Nice. And I understand you have a YouTube channel that you're starting up and working on.
Yeah, so I just started up my own little show. I'm still trying to work out the bugs, like this lovely view of my background here of my kitchen. I got to get a green screen, and I've got to get a good mic like you guys have. But I'm doing kind of a question and answer. I do many games. I mainly play SWTOR and WoW are my two big games. So I do a lot of question and answers, and I ask a lot of people stuff on Twitter, and I wait for replies. And my friends got involved, so I basically just do my own thing. But it's still a growing project, but I'm really enjoying it.
Excellent.
Cool.
And there's sort of an angle that you take with your show, I understand. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little OCD. I've had OCD going in my life for a while, and I've kind of come to the realization that I just kind of go, I'm very obsessed with things, and I become very OCD about my gaming. I feel like I have too many games going on at one time, and I feel like I have too many alts going on at one time, and I get anxiety over it, So I kind of use that as my theme, and I kind of go with my alts. The alting is a big thing with my OCD.
Right.
So I take that into my show, and I try to cover a topic on alting pretty much every week. So
Cool.
Right. And you're not using that in sort of the casual way that some people use the phrase, I am OCD or I feel OCD about that. But you actually have OCD where it affects other parts of your life and so on. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I have OCD. It's affected a lot of my life.
Right.
It's not just like, throwing that word around, which has become so casual these days where somebody, they do something, just obsess over it, and they're like, oh, you're just OCD. No, I really am OCD. I come home, I do my dishes, I make dinner, I got to wash my dishes. I don't want to leave them in the sink. I got to make the bed in the morning. I got to obsess over this. If I don't, I'll get stressed out about it. I'll get anxiety about it. It happens at work, but I'm working sometimes too. I'll obsess over something that we're doing or something that needs to be done, and it's this whole obsession, and it's like in your mind you want to stop the thought, but that's not really how OCD works. You can never really stop the thought. You have to get to a point in your life where you can accept the thought, and that's the part I'm at now. I'm finally, alting is such an obsession to me, and I finally got to the point where it's like I accept it for what I am. That's what I do. So it's just something you have to learn to live with. You have to accept it and live with it.
Right.
Right. Well, kudos to you. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a good sort of hint, and then we'll go into it more at the end. We're going to do a Sarlacc digest about it, and I think that's good. So let's say since 7.0, since the new expansions dropped, what have you been up to in SWTOR?
Well, like I try to balance my week out with all the games I play. I've got normally I'll run my WoW, my SWTOR, and my ESO, but I've been pretty much just working on Galactic Seasons and trying to
Right.
level it, but you guys are just putting me to shame because I think last time you guys said you were on 30 and I'm on like 16 or something. So
Is that because you just like to do certain things in the game? So if the season doesn't have to match up, you don't go for it,
yeah,
basically? Yeah.
yeah, that's been my biggest issue with the Galactic Seasons. I don't want to be forced into doing what they asked me to do. I just want to do what I want to do, which is usually leveling.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't like that about it, but I do like the Galactic Seasons in general.
Yeah. Fortunately, doing the math, you don't have to do like all of it. Like, and especially if
Right.
it sounds like you're probably getting the daily a lot of the time, which is nice.
Yep.
That makes up a lot of it as well. But as far as the weeklies go, as long as you're getting at least a couple, three of them, you're probably okay. Actually, as far as getting to 100 at the end of the season, we still have plenty of time left. In fact, that's going to be the subject of the mind trap this week. Yeah, so that makes sense. And so yeah, we'll look forward to the Sarlacc Digest, and of course we'll have you jump in about all the other topics along the way. But let's move on to Kitty's week. How have you been, Kitty? What you been up to?
I've been doing wonderfully, thank you. I have been Kitty, my girlfriend Kitty Treats, and myself did a 12-hour stream for her birthday, and
Wow.
that was really fun, and it was I mean, I don't want to say easy, but it was fun. The whole time it was fun, and it's really funny because at about, I don't know, maybe 12 hours and 45 minutes, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? We could probably go another like couple hours. This is great.
Wow.
And then within 15 minutes, I just go, oh no. Oh no, we're done. We're done. And Kitty
Crash.
she was getting pretty tired. And then, so we already had ordered some food, and so the plan was cut the stream, and we have what we call bed picnic, where we have a picnic blanket on the bed, and we just put movies on and we eat our dinner and watch whatever we're doing.
That sounds
and
nice,
doing
actually.
that. And she was eating her sandwich, and she just started like lying back a little bit. And she fell asleep, like eating her sandwich,
like with her sandwich on her collarbone or something.
It made me so happy that we had such a great day, and it was so fun. We had the dinner that she wanted, and that she just fell asleep after having like a kid on their birthday.
Right.
They're just like kaput, they're done. And it just made me really, really happy. And I think, by the way, that's the first time I've ever seen that since I was a kid without any alcohol induced,
Right.
Like we were sober,
That's a good day right there.
which just made me go, yes, this is great. So that has to be one of my favorite days in a long
Awesome.
time. It was really, really cool.
That is awesome.
And then for my birthday, Kitty Treats gave me my birthday present early, and she got me a PC, like
Whoa.
a new gaming rig.
Dang.
Because we are going to take the old rig and we're going to turn that into a broadcasting rig for our stream. That way she has her computer to game on, I have my computer to game on, and then this one's just going to be dedicated to broadcast.
Just putting out the data and taking in the. So you'll connect. Nothing will go through your gaming rigs. Your mics and your camera will all go straight to the streaming computer, which is your current. Well, I don't know if it's. Have you switched over your computer, like the one we're talking to now?
Not yet.
Okay, so this is your old computer we're talking to you on.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
but that one will still be there, but it'll be the only streaming mics, cameras, and streaming information and stuff like that. And so your gaming computer can just be focused on the actual game. That's cool.
Right. Yeah, that way it won't be running anything except for the game.
Wow.
And whatever background stuff is going on, so I'll be able to tap out the graphics and stuff like that.
That's cool.
But,
That's you're going to have to do some clever stuff, cuz I'm not sure how I would do that actually, cuz like I have my OBS and it's set up to like pick up the game. but it's on the computer. It's not on some other computer. I don't know how you do that, actually.
Right. We're getting capture card. So the capture card's going to do the work, and then we're going to have switches so that we can go between the computers.
Wow, that's going to be slick.
We did some studying on this.
Yeah.
And then we're going to redo the whole, you know what my room looks like. We're going to redo that so that we can do the dual stream. And we've decided to, just put some time and money into the dual stream because that's what we've both been really, really having fun with. So
that is cool.
It's all about to start. And
awesome.
I had to go around and measure my room and measure everything so that we could get the right size tables and all that.
So you're probably going to be in different orientations and stuff.
Yeah. Because right now I'm probably about 10 feet away from her, and we want to do side by side.
Yeah, absolutely.
That way we don't have to have each other in our headsets. We can just hear each other talking.
Right.
Which will cut out a whole nother element. And then, I got a new 4-track and all that stuff. So it's going to be great, but we're taking amazing. Our time.
Yeah.
We're going to just go slow.
Right. It'll happen over the next few weeks or whatever.
Fun.
Yeah.
We've been having fun with it.
That is awesome. Really cool. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's
cool. You'll
You'll
have to come over and check it out.
Oh, absolutely. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I can't. That's going to be really cool. It's going to be, I bet it is going to look a lot different too. Totally different desks and everything. And is it still going to be your bedroom? Are you going to have the bed in there, or are you going to have to move the bed somewhere?
We're kind of going to be on the other side of the room. I have a pretty large room.
Right. And I know you had a desk over there.
I got a desk over here, and then we got a desk over there. And then we have the cat Disneyland on
right,
one side.
Exactly. The cat. Yeah, I was gonna say next to his little wheel there. The one he never uses is there.
He's too scared.
He's still scared. Still scared of it.
Still scared. We're trying.
Oh wait,
we're get him there,
but Treats has her cat there. Has her cat tried out the wheel, or does she like the wheel?
We have been putting them together, to kind of see how they work together, and we've been doing that for a couple months now. Okay. Every once in a while I'll bring it. But now that Kitty's living at the house, Moo Mao is her cat. She's kind of downstairs because
I see
Niksu gets a little obsessive. He is obsessed with Moo Mao.
Right.
I don't know if he knew that cats existed till Moo Mao actually got here. She thought everybody was just a human.
Right.
And so he won't leave her alone. He's just he follows her around. He's like, because he's a young cat, he wants to play, and she's just like, man, kid, get off of me. So she never gets to relax, and then
right.
So we've had to kind of take a step back from that, but
that's funny.
We'll get there. It's all going to be good. And I have one last thing that I've been saving for this stream.
Ooh, okay.
And I would like to officially announce that I am a SWOTOR content creator.
Hey, congratulations, awesome. Kitty. All right.
Very cool.
Woo, woo.
Yay, fun.
That's
we
amazing.
Got it. Had some meetings and all that fun stuff, and it's official.
All right.
I am part of the team.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
Awesome. Very, very stoked.
That is cool. So there we go. We have an announcement. That's excellent. You well deserved. Obviously, you've been knocking it out of the park for some time now, and I couldn't be happier. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't know about Kitty Treats. Is she considered part of your channel? I don't know how that works.
I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that's kind of where we're going.
Right.
I'm going to be doing weeks, and then her schedule's changed around so that she can come on. She gets done with work about 2, and she works downstairs from home. So she just comes up, jumps on, and then we can do a stream then, and then of course all the weekends.
Right. Well, at some point, I'm sure they can add her in at some point, because and I know you've been working on it for some time. So when you first did it, you must have been just doing it as your just kitty kisses, And so, and then she got it added in, during the process. So that's interesting, though. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you going to do like anything special, like a special stream or like a big giveaway or whatever?
I'm not sure exactly what I wanted to do. Jackie asked me, and I go, I want to wait and do it live on the podcast.
Right.
And I asked her not to tell you.
I know. So, we had an UtiniCast talk like not long ago with her. We're talking about Jackie Coe, who's the community manager at SWOTOR. And she was very...
she did a great job.
If there's anything a community manager has to be good at, it's knowing, what you can say and what you can't, and when you can say it and when you can't. Yeah. And she obviously made that arrangement with you, and she didn't say a word. That's awesome.
She didn't say a word. She did a great job. Because I wanted to drop it on you. I was like, okay, I got to. I know,
because it's been so. The funny thing is, obviously, you would have known then before that talk. It sounds like because you'd set it up for the talk.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping that the conversation we had with her was going to help you get your own channel into the program, because I figured, like maybe they're on the verge, but maybe just like having a little face-to-face time would actually help. Turns out that not necessary. You're in like Flynn. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. It's been a while, and I'm very, very happy. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yay. But that's about really cool. It for me, Chill. You want to see what chat's up to?
Absolutely. Let's see. Let me see. Well, actually, that's right. Gosh darn it. Okay. I keep thinking that I can I keep trying to set up the page a certain way, and then it turns out I just can't do it that way. Okay, hang on. All right. Sorry, folks. This will just take a second while I set this up. All right. So I'm pulling up the list here. I'm pulling up. There we go. I got the. You can tell. The sound, because it was actually coming through because I had to reload it. Okay, so 24 is here, A24, 29 Oriole, Antle 2765, Boss Sunday, Bo Froley's here, Deck is here, Hey Deck, Gator Skull 1289, Jedi Knight 1, Jody Moon, Caber is here as Caber76, Kitty Treats is here, Hey Kitty, Niner is here, Predakill, Shard Bova, Squishy Twitchy, and Tsunami Safari are all the ones that are showing. There could be more, but because I tried this and it still didn't work.
A for effort.
I keep hoping that I'll be able to do it from like the channel that I'm expecting to be able to do it from, and it just never works. I'm just gonna have to do it the other way. That's all there is to it. Oh well. So if you're in the chat room, I'm sorry. But it's all good. All right, so what I've been doing in the game, mostly just I've been kind of focusing on gearing. So I've decided to do it through dailies. So this is sort of the grind, but it's just kind of it's what works with my schedule and my predilections and all that sort of stuff. So the general idea is I'm going to try to get to a set of 326 for my two operatives, my one on the pub side, one on the imp side, because they can just share that gear completely, including weapons and implants with the set pieces. And after that, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to like use that 326 gear to get more 326 gear to make sets for other characters. Right. So it's kind of a variation on how we did it in Onslaught. It's not going to work quite as well because implants you can't switch over, like they're very class specific. Weapons are class specific, both a main and offhand. There's a few, that like there's a couple classes that use pistols and whatever. So it's not going to work ideally, but the general idea is, okay, if I have a set of mostly 326 gear and then I send it to a new character and then they just need the weapons, well, hopefully if I've been doing like some dailies and stuff on them and I've been getting the conquest, I'm no longer opening those boxes until I've got a 326 or mostly 326 set on them. Then I'll open up the boxes so I can get some quote-unquote side grades that will actually fill out their sets. That is the hope, and I'm hoping it's going to work, but I'm not quite there yet. I am basically at like mostly 324. No 326 yet, except for one implant. They're really hard. Anyway, the tech points are really... 6,500 tech points is a lot in...
That's a lot.
In 7.0. It was nothing in 6.0, but it's a lot in 7.0. But anyway, yeah, it's mostly 324, a couple of 322s, and then we'll start working on getting 326. And then once I have a 326 set, I'll start opening up boxes and hopefully getting enough. Yeah. I'm also working on tanking. I'm going to do this out of order in the show notes. I'm working on tanking because I'm not sure. I've always had a tank main in every expansion, but this time I'm not sure which one I want. I really feel Wonder Woman should be a Guardian. I don't really want to make her a Shadow, but I did make her secondary spec a Shadow so I could try Shadow tanking since she's already level 80. And so far I'm liking Shadow better than Guardian, so I might end up leveling a Shadow and one who more thematically appropriate. But I've also started leveling War Machine. He's a character I leveled up in Onslaught, so I got him up to 75. And he's also happens to be my armor mech character. And I'm getting him from 75 to 80 to see what Vanguard is so that I can make a final decision. Do I want Guardian, Vanguard, or Shadow Tank? That's going to be that. And then hopefully once I have the 326 gear that I can send over, we can open up boxes. And if I set, what spec you want it to, then when I open those boxes, it should all be gear. It should all be tanking gear that's hopefully 324 or 326.
That's a great idea, Chill.
So that should help for getting those off specs for me, for the tanking, and hopefully later on like a healer that doesn't need accuracy. But so we're gonna hopefully that'll work, and I'm still a ways there. I don't know why the Guardian just doesn't feel as good this expansion. It just doesn't. I really liked it in the last expansion, but there's some of the changes they made. It just feels a little awkward, and it doesn't have like the right amount of force that you need, and like sometimes I'm doing a lot of filling in with like the free ability. I don't know. It just doesn't. I'm just not liking it. Kind of miss like, and there's also one or two kind of ugly choices where you have to choose between like three pretty important cooldowns that you had all three in the last expansion, which that's just a thing that's in 7.0. But in this case for Guardian more than the others, I felt like it was a little harder choice. Like in the Vanguard tanking, I didn't really. There were some choices you have to make for sure, but nothing that felt as bad as like one classic defensive ability, another classic defense ability, and the mad dash ability. It's like, wow, that's a really hard choice. And there's sort of some similar ones in the tanking ones for Shadow and for Vanguard, but nothing that's quite that nasty. So yeah,
I think that the Wonder Woman as a Shadow tank would be awesome because of all the spinny moves and stuff.
That's true. Maybe I should. Yeah, I always feel her as more of like the jumping in type than the sneaking in type. But maybe other than that, it's pretty appropriate, and maybe I can get used to it. And that will certainly save me from having to level another character.
You know what she has is a tiny little invisible Segway that she sneaks around and stabs people in the back.
Yeah, and it's been a long time since I've been a Shadow tank. That was sort of like my actual main tanking spec from middle of original SWTOR all the way through the end of Shadow of Revan, basically, or middle of Shadow of Revan, because in Shadow of Revan, like they announced that they weren't going to do operations for a while, and a lot of operations peoples left, and our operation group split up too because of it. But in that expansion, I was still tanking some, but then everyone's just sort of switched classes just for fun because we'd been doing the same one since the beginning. And then I was a DPSer for a while. But I was a Shadow tank for a long time. And it's kind of interesting to go back to it. And it's some of it still feels very much the same. Like some of it hasn't really changed that much, which is interesting. Right. The Vanguard one definitely feels different from what I remember, although that was a lot more spotty. It feels really good though. I think the Vanguard tank one feels really good. Like you don't really run out of your energy very often. It feels like there's usually an interesting cooldown coming up, pretty often, stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, if you're soloing, you're obviously doing less damage than if you're on a DPS spec, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. So yeah,
I've never done the Vanguard tank.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. The harpoon is really fun, actually.
I always call it the Queequay.
Yeah.
I'm Queequaying.
Yeah, I find it very helpful because a lot of times there's like, if there's a like a pat and he's gonna get to another group and it's like, I don't want to fight that silver and this group of like 2 silvers and a normal or a gold and whatever, and it's like, and if you harpoon them when they're far enough away, they won't all aggro, and so that way you can control when the fight starts. So pull them over.
That's cool.
Yep. And then you get to keep the fight separate. It's
cool.
Pretty nice. Yeah. I'm looking forward to trying all of them some more. I still haven't made a decision as to which class I want to make for sure. But yeah, maybe I'll stick with Wonder Woman then. If it works for you, maybe I'm being too prejudiced and I should give it another try.
Those are hard sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm still working on my Storm sorcerer / knight. Well, now that she's past the class story, it's not as important what class she is in. She's all the way into Fractured Alliances, which is Iocath plus what I call the Traitors Trilogy of flashpoints. She's actually on the second one. Interestingly, she's level 80, and she has that one mission where you're supposed to fill things up to 100, basically, by doing flashpoints. I can't remember all the different things you can do, but Conquest is one of them. So if you do nothing else, you can still get it there eventually, just doing Conquest. Interestingly, though, the Traitors Trilogy, which are honest-to-goodness flashpoints done story style, I thought they would count towards it, but nope, she's still at 0 of 100 because of that. So,
same thing happened to me.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's because she's actually doing it as the main storyline. I don't know, or if they just haven't added it. I don't know. Anyway,
did you do this before?
It doesn't matter
patch?
Though to me very much. Yes, this was like the last week, so it wouldn't have been. It was after 7.0.1, but it was not. It was not for 7.01a, which just came out today. So yeah, I know they did add. I saw in the patch notes they did add some, like a number of flashpoints to make sure that they added to that particular mission.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't notice any of the Traitors Trilogy. Sorry, I know it's really Fractured Alliances, but I just like Traitors Trilogy so much better.
I think everybody calls it that.
At least everyone who's heard me say it. Alliteration for the win, Anyway, it really doesn't matter though. I've just been interested to see what it's like to take someone who is one class but using the abilities of a very different class, because she's a knight, and not only is she using a Sith ability, she's not even using a Sith warrior, she's using a Sith sorcerer abilities.
Right.
And it's interesting to see it from a different point of view that way, and I'm still enjoying that. So the gearing is very, very not important to me on her. For the most part, she feels reasonably powerful. I do so much lightning. It's perfect for Storm because everything is lightning except for 2 dots. Everything else is lightning. Even your shield has lightning, and or force speed. It's not lightning, but it has a whoosh and a lot of wind sort of sound effects and visual effects. So even that feels very weathery. So it's pretty cool. So I'm enjoying that. We also did there's the duck hunt in the 500. That was a lot of fun. That was actually part of the end of. I don't know if you mentioned it, but it was at the end of your 12-hour. Yeah.
Yeah. You came and did that.
Right. It was all in McKeb, and it was a lot of fun. As usual, I did very poorly finding Ducky. Well, actually I did semi-okay. I was 7th or something. I wasn't dead last or anything, but I was nowhere near the running. Sadly, I think I was actually there earlier and just somehow did not see him where he was, and could have done a lot better and just didn't. It was unfortunate, but whatever. It's all good. Did very well. I did well in the 500. I actually won the race. So that was pretty cool. Thank you. I usually do pretty well with the race. I'm rarely below. I'm rarely out of the top 3. I've taken 4th once, and I'm almost always 1, 2, or 3, which is pretty good, I think. I think it's because I do so much like solo stuff that I'm just constantly running around. And if you're doing like flashpoints and operations and stuff, you're not mounting up as much. You really aren't. Basically, on that race, so we basically we're on Shalem Avesta's mesa, and if you've done McKeb enough, you know that one actually connects to a bunch of other mesas. Mm-hmm. It's like, so it ends up being the largest single area in the game as far as McKeb goes. And we were pretty far off to the southeast, and then Shalem Avesta is like in the northwest, and you have to make your way. The race was basically make your way back to Shalem Avesta's place. And it was pretty tight until I decided to take a chance. And you know how McKeb has like all these little flat air, exactly. They're a little pancakey. And if you hit the wrong one, you can either die or get stuck or whatever. And I took a chance, basically. Everyone else went around this one corner to get to the next light bridge, and I took a chance and actually jumped over the corner of the bridge onto the next mesa. And because I didn't get stuck or anything, that put me ahead, and I was ahead the rest of the race, which that felt pretty good. So, and actually, so I ended up getting a tuning, which was awesome. Ducky had really cool stuff as always. The holographic weapon tuning. Oh, cool. Which is really cool. I really like it. And I actually threw it right onto my poison character because she uses a green color crystal. It turns her whole weapon bright green, basically, which is kind of cool. And it's definitely one of the tunings that's more obvious. Like for my poison characters, I've had it unlocked a long time. I had the rat ghoul one. And it works. It's thematic. It's certainly, the dripping and the little glow, there's a little bit of glow. There's some dripping of poison, and there's like some weird miasma, smell junk coming off of it. It's really cool. That one the static fart. Yeah. But it's a little tough to see. Like, it's what I mean. It's a little subtle unless you're really up close on it. The holographic weapon tuning is nothing subtle about it. It basically makes your whole weapon just glow bright, whatever color your color crystal is. And so now they have like this poisonous green glowing gun to shoot the poison out, which is awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Ducky.
Have you noticed on that when you pull your weapon out, there's a
noise,
a little sound?
Yeah,
I had no idea
noise. Yeah,
it took me a couple hours to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, I did notice that. It's much. I think there are other tunings that have sound effects as well, but this one, it's a little odd because it's very sharp. It's like there's a bit of a whir, but it's really more of a clack. There's a clack that you really hear. Mm-hmm. And it's also like a little delayed. It's like it only comes on.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like when your weapon gets put away, and then like a half second later, clack. It's like the weird clack noise. I've noticed that. I definitely noticed that. It's a little weird. It
confused me so bad.
Yeah, like I bought the lightning tuning a while ago for Storm specifically, and that one, it's like it's cool, but it's. Among all of her other lightning effects, you really can't see it. She's holding her lightsaber out, and it's got the lightning tuning, but I could barely tell. And there's a little noise, but again, kind of subtle. Yeah, holographic weapon tuning is much more obvious.
Cool.
Yeah, that's actually why I liked for a long time the galactic tuning, galactic command tuning. It's basically puts this sort of like big holographic.
Right.
Sort of UI sort of thing on front of your weapon. Right. Like the idea being like you're the Alliance commander, and you need to be in constant contact with your people. So you have like this sort of weird UI thing on your weapon, and it's really it tends to be very big compared to a lot of others too, and it's very bright. So I whenever I just wanted to be able to see the tuning, I would sometimes use that one. I've actually put it on some of my companion weapons just because it looks cool. Right. And and how did you do how did you and Kitty Treats do for the race and for the duck hunt? And did you get what did you get from Ducky?
I ended up not getting winning any of the races or any of that, but Ducky's so generous.
He always makes sure
with
everyone
his
who shows
gifts.
up gets something. Yeah.
I ended up getting another character slot unlock.
Oh, that's not bad at all for an alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's probably the perfect thing.
Never goes to waste.
Yeah,
And
I
Kitty
forgot
Treat
what
says
Kitty
she got a Vibra sword,
that's
which
right.
is cool.
Yeah, she did get the Vibra sword.
Yeah,
Cool.
there's some Vibra swords that look really good in the game. Actually, and this is also going to be in the news later, but yeah, they're working on the weapons added to the outfitter, and I'm looking forward to that because like right now, a couple of my characters, especially Wonder Woman, like Wonder Woman's using a lightsaber, and it's okay, but it really looked good when she had like an old like almost Greek style, like just metal sword in her hand. It really felt appropriate for her. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Gwenpool's another one. Gwenpool uses like katanas, and I have katanas for her that are in the game.
Yeah.
And right now she's using a lightsaber, and it looks okay, but it's not the same.
Not the same, especially with the way that those are.
Yeah, they go on the back and
they
stuff.
They go on the back, just like
that's cool. Yeah,
character.
just like Gwenpool and yeah. Well, Deadpool. Although in my case, I made my Deadpool character like a smuggler, so he uses a pistol. So,
okay.
But it's all good. Yeah.
Right.
So,
it's all good.
all right. So I think there we go. Let's move on to the tip of the week. And we do have a tip from me, but before that, there's a little minor correction from Casey about last week's tip regarding the new companion, the season's companion. When he checked, he realized that he had made a mistake. It's not like 30,000 credits, more like close to 300,000 credits. And I looked and it's like 250,000 credits or something like that. So, to make up the difference to get him to 50, if you encounter that bug in the game and you want to get him to 50, that's how you could do it potentially. So it's more expensive than he thought it was. So he says sorry, but he did do the update, and I did kind of check to make sure.
Nice.
And he also let us know that he opened the pack that he won from doing the tip of the week, and he got the pod pet, the Baby Yoda pod pet, which is pretty new in the game, which is really cool. Yeah,
cool.
It's a really nice get from that one.
Yeah,
which
that one's
is awesome.
cool.
And let's see. So my tip is I finally got to the anniversary vendor and got the new decorations. This includes, like, for example, the ones from the winners of the contest for the different planets of, like, the best screenshot, the best view, I believe they're called, from like a bunch of planets, Mech Shaw, and I can't remember them all, but it was really cool. And so we've got those, and there's some other new ones, and some of them are $9.99, so it takes a long time to right click them. And so I think we've done variations on this before, but I'm going to show my version of it. I got really tired. I didn't want to right click everything. And the thing is, right clicking only lets you go down one at a time, no matter how fast you're clicking. So what I did is I cleared out a little bit of my action bar and actually put the decos on the bar, and then I could type. I essentially type because I can just wiggle my fingers and blah, 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 blah. And because there's absolutely no cooldown, you can actually do it as fast as you can physically, and you can and I was essentially doing it like 4 times as fast, and also easier because right clicking is not exactly a super normal thing to do like a million times, whereas typing is relatively straightforward physically, and so I did that, and it's a lot faster, especially for the big 999 stacks. And then what I found was I got down to where there was 2 more decos to do. They're both 999s, but there's only 2 of them, not 4. So what I did is I just doubled them up. And you can double them up. It doesn't matter if it's duplicated on the bar. The game doesn't care.
Awesome.
I was just doing them twice as fast for each deco, and it really went fast then.
That's a great idea.
And I suppose you could do 2 hands, but I just did my left hand. I didn't want to go for the 2-handed thing. That would have been cool, though. I also found that just because I wasn't, trying to do it perfectly, I wasn't like, I couldn't make it so that my pinky was going to hit every time, if I'm going this fast. So because of that, my first 2 fingers were going the fastest, and my middle finger and my pinky finger were kind of missing, and so they're lagging behind a little bit. So what you can do is you can just kind of like wiggle them around a little bit and kind of balance them out, and you can get them down all around the same time, which works too. So like when I had good. 2 stacks or 2 decos left, so I put pinky and first finger, forefinger and pinky finger, because I knew pinky finger was going to be the weakest, forefinger was going to be the best, and I put the other two in the middle, and then they ended up at almost the same time, which is perfect.
Nice.
I don't know. This
I
is
like that idea.
Yeah, and so if you're ever in a situation where you just need to do tons of decos, that's definitely a better way to do it than right clicking, because God, right clicking gets tiring after a while.
That's all I do with that. Right click, right click, right click.
Yeah, exactly. And also, when I was there, I noticed like the vendor has a couple of other cool things. There's two free, like these are all 0 credit. The vendor has 2 different rest toys. So if you like don't have any rest toys in the game, you're new to the game or whatever, and you're tired of your meditation, if you're a Jedi, or the little credit flippy thing or whatever it is for the smuggler. If you're getting tired of that, or whatever, there's the fireworks backpack, which is a little silly, because you're also kind of like pew pew pew, and you're kind of like playing music and stuff at the same time. The other one is the Ebon Hawk spaceship toy. It's like your character's like doing a little toy Ebon Hawk flying around. Yeah. But it works as a regular rest toy too. So there's also fireworks. There's Hollow Senna, which really isn't necessary anymore, except for speeder piloting 1, 2, 3 anymore. The Jawa buff, one of the 2 Jawa buffs in the game is on the vendor, and there's more stuff too besides that. So definitely worth checking it out. And there we go. So if you have a tip of the week, send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show for a chance to win a Tonfon M83 droid pet code or one of the newer M2B9 droid codes. I mean, maybe a year old now, but whatever. Courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided Ultimate Pack, which, in this case, it got Casey like the new little baby Yoda thing. So that was awesome. All right, that'll bring us to the Mind Trap. I'm going to have a little water here, and then we'll continue. Yeah. All right, so we did kind of a double Mind Trap just to see where how people were doing with Galactic Season 2. So the first one of the two was, how far through Galactic Season 2 are you? And so it was 0 through 10, 11 through 25, 25 to 45, and 46 plus. I know those sound weird. I was basically okay, 0 through 10 sounds reasonable, and then it's like, well, if I do 11 through 20, it's not going up high enough. And I didn't, so I made it so it was 10, then 15, then 20, and then I just made the last one, all the rest. Turns out I was even a little bit, underselling it, because 46 plus actually won with 41% of the votes. We got 200 votes this time, and thank you for the retweets, folks. So 46 or more got 41% of the vote, which is the highest. Second was the second highest, 25 to 45. That was where I was at the time, although I think I'm above it now, at 30.3%. 11 through 25 was 15.9%, and 0 through 10 is 12.8%. And so, Caber, how about you? You said you were still working on getting through there. So whereabouts are you now?
I'm at the 15.9%.
Okay, so 11 through 25.
I'm pretty low.
Yeah.
It's just
almost a quarter of the way there.
I think it's better than the first, seasons. It's moving quicker, but I still I don't like being, you got to do this, you got to do that. I just want to do what I want to do. So
right,
it's tough.
Right. It's true, yeah, and it is definitely designed to, it definitely rewards people who want to do more social stuff. Like if you're into war zones, right, there's a lot of war zone ones. If you're into flashpoints, there's a lot of flashpoint ones, or uprisings, which are practically flashpoints. That sort of thing. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I'm with you. Except I guess I'm a little more willing to do other stuff, because I've done the on-rail space missions. I've done some daily areas that are kind of taking me out of my way and stuff like that. But yeah, I get it. And Kitty, where are you?
I'm at 25 to 45.
That's where I was. I think, like I said, I think I'm a little over it now, but at the time, that's where I was. The poll 2 was just seeing how people found it compared to Season 1. How fast or slow do you find Season 2 compared to Galactic Season 1? Slower, about the same, or faster? And Caber, you said you found it a little faster, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's a lot faster, actually. To me, it feels it's a lot quicker than the other one. I felt like the other one was just kind of dragging, but I was the same with that. I was just doing what I wanted to do and not what I was supposed to do, so that didn't help.
Wow, Niner said I just hit 100% on my second server and now working on a third server. That's wild. That's
awesome.
going fast.
That's really quick.
Holy mackerel. Yeah. I definitely found it. I found it faster, and that's what I did vote. Not massively faster. Like if someone said, well, is it really about the same, or is it, is it just a little and it's really about the same, or is it faster? And I would kind of have to dither a little bit, but I did vote faster. And how about you, Kitty? And we'll go over the results after that.
It kind of feels about the same to me.
Okay, fair enough.
I've just been kind of going at my own pace, but
doesn't feel that much faster or slower.
Yeah,
cool. Well, we're all in the solid majority because slower. We'll do it the opposite. Usually we do the whatever one first, but in this case, slower was 4%, so hardly anyone. This is out of 75 votes. Usually a second poll, it's really hard to get the same number of votes. We have a lower number of votes, but slower was only 4%. So most people find it about the same or faster. About the same was 45.3%, and then faster won with 50.7%. So yeah, so massive lean towards about the same or faster. Like hardly anyone finds it slower, which is interesting.
I wonder if it feels faster because the first season we didn't really know what we were in for. And, being in the second season, we're kind of like, oh, okay, we did this before. Now we kind of know what we're doing.
Right. It's possible. Yeah. I mean, this was all about feelings. This wasn't about asking people to go back into their records, and figure out whether they're actually doing it faster. It's whether it feels
detailed
faster.
records.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite possible that psychology could definitely play into this for sure. And does, I'm sure. So yeah, that was interesting. Some people, most of the people said, they felt like it was happy that it was faster. Although Weldon's mom said season was so long ago, I can't remember. Fair enough, man. Yeah, it's ever since COVID hit, like my sense of time has just gone right out the window.
Right?
So.
Yeah.
And one said about the same, but I like this format better. Less pressure to complete stuff every day, and the available options are usually a good spread. And let's see, I'm on level 42, writes Highlands Hachiroku. Finding it much faster as there are more objectives I can actually complete this time instead of having to re-roll. I would like a re-roll option still, as it's hard to get 7/7 as a purely solo player. Interesting point. I think what they did is instead this time, it's 7 of 7, but there's actually 10 you can actually do. So I think that's sort of like the equivalent of re-rolling that in their mind. Like they feel like that's giving the options, that a re-roll kind of does as well. I think that's the idea. I haven't actually talked to them about that, but I think that's the idea. Bo Froley said, as I missed the first one, I can't say, but I am enjoying it, which is good. And let's see. And Grumpy Urali wrote, I've just started playing again after a while, and I'm still confused about a lot of things. Fair enough. Yeah. And let me have some more water. We'll get on to the new area of the game of the podcast, Cantina Talk.
Yeah, Cantina Talk is a new one that Chill came up with, where we're going to talk about different voice actors and their involvement in SWTOR and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. We've talked about Tara Strong, Nika Futterman, and John DiMaggio, all of which have voiced for SWTOR in various ways before. Today is Tom Wilson, who isn't necessarily the most famous name right off the top, might not roll, like who that is might not come to your mind right away. But if you've ever seen Back to the Future or any of the Back to the Future movies, you will recognize Biff Tannen, Griff Tannen, or Buford Mad Dog Tannen, who are all played by Tom Wilson. Yep. So if you're a Back to the Future fan, Biff Tannen, and the other Tannens is played by Tom Wilson, and he is in SWTOR, which is really cool. I was really happy when I figured this out a while back. I was like, listening to this one voice, and it sounded really distinctive, but I was like, who on earth is that? Like, is that someone else I should know, or is that someone who does a lot of SWTOR voices? And it turns out he did a fair number of SWTOR voices in the original, although he has not been back for any of the expansions. Before we do the SWTOR voices, he has done acting ever since Back to the Future. A good mix of regular acting plus voice acting. Some of the other folks we've been talking about have really sometimes done like a little bit of initial regular acting, and then once they hit voice acting, they just stuck with voice acting. They hardly ever did any on-camera work after that. But not the case with Tom Wilson. He does a really good mix of mostly TV nowadays, TV acting and also voice acting. He's been on Freaks and Geeks as Coach Ben Fredericks on multiple episodes as Coach Lawrence. I thought it was funny that he did a coach twice. On Troll Hunters Legends of Arcadia. He's also had a bunch of small non-recurring roles, but a bunch of them, which means they like him and they have him back all the time, for SpongeBob SquarePants. So if you're interested in SpongeBob SquarePants, look him up. He's done like 12 different voices or something like that. Mm-hmm. In SWTOR, they had him in for quite a few characters.
Lots of them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go through them real quick. Commander Bowen is a Republic side mission giver on Terrace. Els Organa, some of these are pretty straightforward. We're just going to kind of go through them pretty fast, but we'll hit them. Els Organa is a smuggler story character on Alderaan, and he wants to save some Alderaanians from the Killiks. So if you're a smuggler, you'll hear him at that point. He's also credited as a Hutt cartel slaver, though I haven't been able to figure out exactly where or which one. There's a bunch of them in the game, of course. Mm-hmm. Jada Kum is a Shagrian Republic SIS agent on Nar Shaddaa. Shagrians are the ones that have they have the head tails, but they have the points on the ends of the head tails. That type of that alien species. So he's a Republic SIS agent on Nar Shaddaa who uses your character to help stop Kata the Hutt's pit fights. And Auric Gwendon is an Alderaanian who tasks a Republic ally with recovering the assassination holo recording from the library and the holo archives of Castle Pantier. And after the uncovering the truth, Auric, who is Tom Wilson's character, then and the Queen's Guard are dispatched by Lady Katai Pantier to accompany Republic forces with the intention of arresting Boris Olgo. And let's see. Then Rowan Delk, Republic side Tatooine Jedi Consular story. And this is the guy who, if you ever do the Jedi Consular story, you'll definitely hear him a lot. He's like your main contact for a good chunk of the Tatooine story. He's like this guy. He's like a patient. He's got like this lung disease. He's caught. Yep. He's caught.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he's caught right, sand lung. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's been damaged by being out in the desert too long. And he helps track down Master Vossen, and he's present when the consular shields Master Vossen from the illness and cures him. So that guy is Tom as well. So that's pretty cool. But my favorite, and my absolute favorite, and I love this character, is Gallerin. And Gallerin is on the Bounty Hunter story. He's also on Nar Shaddaa, like one of his other characters. Yep. Gallerin is a male Twi'lek slaver and successful underboss in the Hutt cartel, and he's very distinctive because he's body size 4, pale green, and he assists you, the future Grand Champion of the Great Hunt, in tracking down the Eidolon. And he and Anuli help you slice. He helps you do the missions. He's again sort of the point of contact for your character in for multiple parts of the Nar Shaddaa story. Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately he does die during the story, so there's not going to be anything more from him, unfortunately. But he has this really amazing sort of. I wish I knew more specifically what the differences are between like a Bronx and a Brooklyn and a Queens accent, but it's a very sort of New York style accent. He's talking like this all the time, and he's one of the only times in the game when I actually appreciate them pronouncing holo, because I usually hate it. It usually sounds off to me, but he says it and I love it. It's like, you got to get him on the holo. Gotta go find him on the holo. We're gonna go track down their information. He's somewhere out of New York is like this male green Twi'lek, and it is awesome. And so sounds like
picturing this now in like Bronx, New York.
Yeah, exactly. The Eidolon. Yeah, that's right. Smooth Wolf is the Eidolon. Yeah, that's exactly him. And I love that character. And yeah, so next time you see Back to the Future, just remember that awesome. The guy who plays Biff is also in SWTOR, which is awesome. So thank you to Tom Wilson. And
the first time that I played through, because I have been a huge fan of this guy since he played Biff Tannen, because we were kind of we were coming up with who's the worst villain, but kind of doing it funny. And I came up with him that Biff Tannen is the worst villain because he's even a jerk to himself. When he meets himself. Like,
that's right.
He's so bad that he's even mean to himself. So when I heard his voice, I was like, is that him? And we looked it up, and sure enough, it was him. And so anytime I would hear him in the game, I'd always go, it's Space Biff. It's Space Biff.
And now you have a couple more places where you can watch for him, which is great. Yeah, it's kind of cool, like, because we also talked about Dika Futterman, and she also shows up in the Bounty Hunter story. So if you do the Bounty Hunter story, you'll hear Tom Wilson on Nar Shaddaa, and then you'll hear Nika Futterman as the Mistress of Pain on Tatooine. Which absolutely one of my favorite sort of like minor characters in SWTOR is the Lady of Pain. I love that. Every time I do that story, I look forward to it. It's like, ooh, we're on Tatooine on the Bounty Hunter. That means Lady of Pain coming up.
Right. She would be a great one to return to. She had like her own little hideout, her own little fighting pit.
Right.
She was great.
Yeah, she was like a crime boss. So I mean, there's no reason she couldn't be like just show up as like even maybe a dangerous crime boss or something.
And she sounds like Asajj Ventress.
Yeah. So. Nothing wrong with that. So, K-Bear, it sounds like you recognize a couple of these characters as well, especially Rowan Delic on the Consular story.
I recognize some of the characters, but it's funny is I had no idea that was him.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Until you guys just said that, I was like, wow, I had no idea he was in the game. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
now I'm going to go back and check it out again because I want to hear it. So
absolutely, yeah, he does a really good job. So, all right, let's get on to the holo feed. So we'll get on to the news. Weapons Outfitter they had a little notice that it was coming to PTS, and it is now updated. It is on the PTS. They're asking folks, if you're doing the PTS, is the use of the feature intuitive? Are there any points in the feature where information flow or general understanding of how things work is confusing? If the flow of the feature, if the flow of how the feature currently works is confusing, let us know how you believe it should work and report any general bugs. So yeah, if you're doing the PTS, you can actually do the weapons in the outfitter, which is really cool. I know that I think I've seen SWTORisa put a video out about it and stuff like that. So it's definitely it's one that'll basically like people have been asking this forever. So
since the game started.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense that they would finally have to figure out a way to do it now. Just because of all the, you can change your character so much, and now this way you can actually at least choose which weapon it is. Obviously, it has to be the right kind of weapon for the combat style you're using, but it still makes sense. So,
right,
yeah,
I checked it out. It's interesting. If it stays the way it is, you're gonna need all 16 of your unlocked for your outfitter, because you have to designate your weapon for that outfit.
Okay.
Which is interesting. So I wouldn't be even surprised if they, made it, bumped it up to 20 instead of just 16 outfitter tabs.
I hadn't thought about that. And I haven't I've unlocked a few sort of account wide, but I haven't done more than 4, 5, something like that. And I usually don't use even that many. It's because like how I like to cosplay is I usually like to find like what I consider the most accurate or more, the most accurate, we'll say, outfit, and I just kind of stick with it. Like, and sometimes there'll be a second outfit because the character is well known for like a couple of outfits, and that's fine, and I do that. But I don't usually have like a string of outfits for most characters. But yeah, but I've definitely like long since unlocked like the first few slots, so like every character I don't have to think about it. I just get to go it. I know you probably have used characters where you've used like all the slots.
I've had them unlocked for years. Yeah. As soon as they had a sale on the unlocks for those things, I was just like,
nice.
And all 16.
Is it one where you have to? I can't remember. I think you just buy it in the character screen, right?
Yeah. So
it's not like something you have to unlock from the cartel market or something.
No. You just go in there and it'll give you the option to do it for in-game credits, or it'll give you the option to do it with cartel coins.
Right.
And then there'll be another option that's a little bit more expensive in cartel coins, but that will unlock it for your entire account.
Right.
Not just
the one character
that you're on, for all your characters.
Right.
So, and then I noticed that if you don't want to do that and you just want to buy it up, once you get past a certain number, I think it stays the same amount of in-game credits, and that doesn't like compound. It stays the same instead of like the first ones.
You're talking about credits though, not cartel coins? Okay.
Credits, yeah.
But credits are always, those are never for the whole account though, are they? They're always for just that character.
No.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to unlock it for just the in-game credits,
right,
then it doesn't compound.
It goes up for a while, but then it flattens.
And then it plateaus, I think. Okay. I'm not sure. I think it's 1 million.
Okay.
Once you get, it'll plateau at 1 million, then
right.
you can just... But cool. I recommend cartel coin.
Speaking as someone who does nothing but hard mode outfitter.
That's right. That's right.
Makes sense. All right. That sounds good. Let's see. 7.0.1 came out basically like the week after the last show, and then 7.0.1a came out today. We have the patch notes for both in our episode here, in our episode notes. Obviously, there's basically 7.0.1 was basically a bug fix, and we knew that it was coming because we talked about this on the last show. There's just tons and tons of, if you just go through it, it's just tons and tons of bug fixes. And let's see, I don't even know if there's that, much that I really necessarily want to talk about specifically. Yeah. Unfortunately, what did happen with 7.0.1 is it created a bug in Galactic Seasons, where especially the track 2, the subscriber track benefits were getting messed up. Like you would either things were automatically getting pulled, but then not actually going into your inventory. Right. Other things, it was all messed up. Like it was really messed up. So they in 7.0.1a, the main fix, there's a couple other things that they worked on as well, but the main fix is to get Galactic Seasons working correctly again. Fortunately, they did figure out that it was going to happen in such a way that you could basically play as normal until 7.0.1a happened. Mm-hmm. So it didn't matter if you accepted the rewards or not. It was all going to kind of like get fixed, essentially. In fact, So Teresa did a whole video about like how you might as well go ahead and like just accept all the ones you can, because it's all going to get reset, but you'll still have anything that you got in your inventory, but not everything is even going to go into your inventory because some of it's bugged. Mm-hmm. But whatever you do get, you will get a chance to get again. So whatever. So if you did that and you got a few extra doubles, I guess great. But that's all been 7.0.1a is out now, so yeah, so it's all taken care of. And I didn't see any further information about it, so it does seem like the bug fix seems to have worked, which is good. There was part of a this was last week for 7.0.1, not A, but there was a fix for the issue where players were experiencing a loss of their initial combat style or origin story when they're added a second combat style. And just so you know, like if you were dealing with that, then you need to actually contact their support team and they'll want to know explain that your character lost their initial origin story or combat style, so they know what issue you're talking about, the character name, and the server, so that they can help you get that fixed. So if that is still an issue for you, that's not going to be fixed automatically. You do need to contact the support team at this point. So there's that. There's also an empty server list issue. Basically, how that one worked is kind of the same idea. You could try a repair and apparently that was working for some people, but not everyone. So if you're getting an empty server list problem, then reach out to support@swotor.com, add quote Ryzen issue, RYZEN issue, to your subject line, provide your account name, confirm that you're not seeing anything on the server list, and confirm what hardware you're using, and then they'll help you get through that, figure it out, and they'll also give you compensation for makeup days you've been unable to play once the fix has been deployed.
Cool.
So yeah. Let's see. The one bug, at some point 0.1, the bug, the notes do mention that the Malgus fight is still, it's still on their list. They're still working on it. They still haven't been able to come up with a solution for it. So they're still working on that one, which is unfortunate. That because it's like the main storyline, storyline of 7.0, and it's. I haven't gone back to there actually since like the first couple weeks. I banged my head against it on a few characters, managed to get it on one of my tanks, as I've talked about before. But since the last show, for example, I haven't even tried to touch that one.
Yeah,
how about you, Kaber? Have you tried that flashpoint with the Malgus fight, and have you been able to get through it?
No, I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not really, I haven't tried it yet. I got very frustrated with the flashpoints in general after they changed everything because I used them for leveling. And I was getting in groups and people were getting all like mad because I wasn't like doing enough DPS, and I just gave up on flashpoints in general after that. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame. Jeez.
I had a couple bad experiences after the update came out with flashpoints.
Okay.
So I stopped doing them, and I think a lot of my OCD in general is I don't like to tank and I don't like to heal. It's just too much anxiety for me, so I always stick with DPS.
Right.
And people were just like, you can't do this for leveling anymore. It's not made for leveling. It's, you have to do this for end gear. And I'm like, when did this change? So my own fault for not checking it, but I got frustrated with it. So
yeah, it's not really how it's supposed to work, but I guess people are gonna be people sometimes. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, let's see. What else here? Oh yeah, the PTS rewards, the Kaizyken's MK85 log mount has been granted with 7.0.1. So if you did the pre-7.0 testing and you got that particular mount, you should be able to get it now. You can now claim the reward from your legacy window, feats of strength, activities, public activist phase 3, and then right-click the reward. The mount will not go into your inventory, but will automatically instead be added to your collections and to your vehicles window. So if you were eligible for that, congratulations. I did not do that much. It was
well done.
It was well past what I was willing to do, but it is a pretty cool one, and I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun to see in the game. I have not seen anyone yet, but that's all good.
I saw it once, and it was gorgeous. And of course, they were just right on fleet in the load-in area, going,
"Check me out!"
Just riding around in a circle.
Oh, that's awesome!
Cock of the walk. Yeah.
Let's see. 7.0.1a patch notes. Basically, it's really short. It's really short. Galactic Seasons 2 rewards track is now working properly. More information here. Temporarily reduce the number of purified droid spawns in Kotet Chapter 4 to allow players to progress the quest. I love that. Purifier droid spawns. I'm trying to remember where that is. Kotet Chapter 4. Let's see. So Kotet Chapter 2 is the one on Drum and Koss with Athena. 3... Oh, that's right. 3 is on the gravestone, and the 4 is the first of the 2 Iocath chapters. So I guess at one point there were too many purifier droids. They were just wiping people.
So I think
Is that the ambush, like, after you've met up with Vet?
I think so.
Okay.
Where they're coming out of the 3 points.
The 3 points, yeah. That can be a nasty fight regardless. If they had a lot more than usual, then yeah, that could get really, really ugly.
If you're ever in that fight, I know that this will sound easy, but it's a little tricky. Make sure that you just concern yourself with one of the points that the droids are coming in from.
Right.
Because there's only a allotted amount of droids per entry point, and once you hit that number, they'll stop spawning out of that point.
Right.
So, because otherwise you're running around, and if you're a melee character, it's a pain in the butt.
Right. I also have one other tip for the tip of the week for that one, for that particular fight. If you're having troubles with that fight, what happens with that one is you've just talked with Vet, and then you go into this big fight, and it's not just you and Vet. There's also some other people like Theron and Torian who are there, and they will help out to some degree. But what you should not do is jump down and aggro, because what happens is there's like this ramp, and to the game, the only thing to do is to have them run backwards along the walls all the way down until they come down the ramp. That means you've got like a good 10 seconds or so of you solo facing, face tanking this whole group of enemies. It gets really nasty. So what you do is you just escort the NPCs. Like, don't aggro them. Don't shoot at them, if you can. If you're ranged, don't do that. Keep them unaggroed as long as possible, and just go along that upper ramp on the back of the wall. Go along the wall until you find one of the enemies, and then shoot them. And then and then your NPC buddies will be there to help, and it'll be a lot smoother.
They also split up, like half go one way, half go the other way. It's a mess, but that's a great tip.
Yeah, and let's see. Also, the /stuck command has been temporarily disabled in PvP areas to prevent exploitive behavior. I'm not sure what exploitive behavior that is, but that's interesting. But yeah, apparently you can no longer /stuck, at least for now, in PvP areas until they figure out what maybe another way of stopping whatever's going on there. Let's see. Yeah, we already talked about 7.0.1a coming out. They basically put out, before 7.0.1a came out and fixed the subscriber reward track, they basically put out a nice little message from Jackie. And the most important thing of that was the information that we could just continue playing normally until the patch goes live. So it didn't matter if you hit, the reward, if you hit the accept reward buttons or anything like that. Either way, whether you did or didn't, it's fine. You could also continue playing normally. You wouldn't have to worry about whether the track was going to be, remembered correctly or not, which is good. Thank goodness. I'm sure that saved them a lot of headaches too.
That was a big.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And let's see. We'll go to the next bit here. And then Jackie did an update earlier today, update on the Galactic Seasons 2 rewards track issue. Hi everyone, we're seeing some confusion and reports about the non-subscriber track being broken past maintenance. This track is working as intended. In short, if you already claimed a reward on the non-subscriber track pre 7.0.1a, you will not receive a second identical reward post 7.0.1a. As the subscriber rewards were the items that were broken, these are the rewards that can be reclaimed. So yeah. In other words, you should already have whatever's on the non-subscriber track, so it's not going to give you a duplicate of that. And she apologized for the lack of clarification, because I'm sure, like, if you see both on the track and then you hit accept, you're going to expect both of them to be in your inventory, and this is why one of them might not be, because you would have already gotten it when you accepted it earlier. There's also one other bit of a note here for the people who happen to be top 96 PvPers, which is pretty amazing. But they are looking into reports today regarding the top 96 rewards and titles that were issued out. Apparently some of the players have reached out because they've been having issues with the rewards and titles from last PvP season. She said, I don't have an update to share right now, but the team is currently investigating the discrepancies that players are reporting, and then she'll update more. So there we go. And since we're all caught up on the news, it's time to go to the Sarlacc Digest, where we go over the issues for 1,000 years. or until we run out of time. And Caber, so you're going to talk about what it's like to play with OCD and how you deal with it.
Yeah, so I pretty much, like I said earlier, I just have OCD, and it's pretty much part of my life. I'm trying to accept it. It's just anxiety and stress and obsession that I keep going through. Gaming is definitely my main hobby. I love it. I mean, I do other stuff too. I collect action figures and things like that, and I get obsessed with everything I do. It's crazy. It's like it'll just take over. Like I'll be at work and I'll start just thinking about my characters, and I have this like obsession with it, and I just can't like get it out of my head. It just keeps going, and I'm like, I have this like crazy love-hate relationship with alts. I don't understand it. I deal with it, and it's just this OCD thing that I've always had. There's this point in my life where I'm like, I just want to play. I have these ideas. I want to make as many characters as I want. I want to do this, and then I go, no, it'd be really nice having one character. Yeah, and then I'll go and I'll delete that character. I'll delete all the characters, and then I'll go, I regret this decision. Why did I do that? And then I'll email BioWare, which I've done this. This is a true story. And I've done this multiple times.
Oh, no.
BioWare got to the point they wrote me back and they're like, Caber, there's something fishy going on with your account. Are you trying to make credits or something? And I'm like, no, I'm just OCD and indecisive. I regret my decision. Can you please bring them back?
Oh,
and then I would spend hours going back, putting all the gear back on them, trying to get everything back, buying stuff off the auction house. And I've done that in World of Warcraft too. It's crazy. I get so obsessed over it, and I don't understand why I do it. And I know it's funny because if you go to the forum and you start explaining like what you're going through on Reddit or the forum, you have so many people that jump on you like, well, why do you need 60 characters? Why can't you just play one or two? And then your head will start getting that obsession, like maybe they're right, and then you start deleting and you're going back and forth, and then you're like regretting it. It's crazy. And I don't know. You guys have a lot of alts too. Do you find yourselves going through that?
No, but I think that's the difference. Like OCD is not to be trifled with. It's nothing to sneeze at. It really isn't. Unfortunately, like OCD went through like a thing in society where sort of people became aware of it, but then they didn't really become aware of it, and they started using it as just sort of like slang for being a little obsessive, or or like being a little bit of a neat freak or a little anal retentive or whatever. Mm-hmm. But actual OCD involves, as I understand it, and tell me like, but it involves actual anxiety, thoughts that you cannot stop from happening, incredibly uncomfortable feelings. And like
it takes over. Those feelings and those thoughts they'll take over, and they'll become all you think about all the time.
Right.
And it's funny because with OCD, it's like those thoughts seem so important to you, but in 30 seconds you're onto something else.
Yeah.
You're like your stress is somewhere else with some other thought, and you realize how those thoughts maybe they're not as important as you think they are in your head. It's crazy sometimes, but it's just a matter of like you want them to go away. And you really do, but that's not how it works. It's right. With any symptom of OCD, you can't really get rid of the thoughts. You just have to get to the point where you accept it. I know that they do the therapy now, where it's just accepting what you have and then making that choice not to act on that. Like me, for instance, deleting all the characters numerous times. That was a bad choice. But I let the feelings and emotions jump in and do that. So it happens a lot.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of folks who do have, like not very accurate views of like what OCD is, because like when it sort of became a like socially understood, like OCD is a thing out there, and people started using it as like a verb, and started verbifying it and kind of like reducing it a bit. Like I wondered if I had gone through a phase like that, because for about like 2 years, if I did something with like my left hand, I felt like I had to do the same thing with my right hand. Like I had to balance things out. And I looked back on that phase though, and while that is something that some OCD people have, I've read about that, but I did not have the feelings of dread or anxiety or the idea in my head that like something bad would happen to me or my family or whatever. if I stopped doing it. It just, for me, it was a weird phase because I was a kid, but it was not like connected with anxiety or other negative sort of feelings and thoughts. It was not OCD. I don't know what it was. I don't know what you would call it, but it was not OCD. But I think a lot of people, like, they think that anything, obsession related or or related or something like that is OCD, and it's not. It's like it can be very debilitating, because if a genuine OCD is like it kind of takes over.
Yep, it does.
So like, do you use gaming? Obviously, like, the OCD is part of the game. Like, you don't escape OCD because you're gaming, clearly, as you've been talking about. But do you find that, like, though, that gaming is still like a better activity to have than certain others, because
I think so,
because you can enjoy it.
It does let you escape a little bit. It's like you get that other, I'm working all day and I'm stressing or, I have anxiety over something that happened and I wasn't able to fix it, or can I fix it? I'm just thinking about that. And then I get to come home and kind of relax a little bit with the games. But then the OCD kicks back in and I'm like, should I be playing this character? Should I be playing this game tonight? Should I be doing that? And then, at the end of the night, I'll call my girlfriend, I'll talk to her, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just play the game? Why do I want to delete characters? Why do I want to jump games? And she's like, because you're OCD.
Right.
It's like, it's just something you have to accept. And I finally got to that point in my life where I accept that, playing games and being an alcoholic is, and being OCD, that's all part of my life.
Right.
I do that. I obsess. And
how do you if I may ask, and you can totally say no, but how do you treat it? Like, are there medicines that work? Are there therapies?
There are medicines, but there's different types of therapy. I know they do a lot with the inclusive thoughts, and it's just that therapy is I think it's called ERP. I haven't done it, but it's where they look into the exclusive thought, and it's like, I'm probably saying it wrong, but inclusive thought, and then it comes in and you have to acknowledge that thought is there and that obsession is there, but you don't have to act on that thought. But like, what you look at the triggers and things, and that's the thing. It's like, somebody will tell me something like, I think one of my neighbors had mentioned something about, like, there was a guy hanging outside one night and they were all worried about it, and then all of a sudden the OCD kicks in and like, oh my gosh, do I need to look at this? Do I need to call the police? Do I have to lock my door? And it just becomes like this run-on thing. And it's that way with anything, and it's just a matter of going, okay, the fear and the thought is there, but you don't have to make that choice to let that take over. And that's the part that's the part where people are taking OCD and they go, oh well, you're obsessed. No, it goes deeper than that. It's not just the term anymore. It's finding that obsession and kind of just acknowledging it and moving on from there.
Right.
Do you feel like when you made that kind of discovery that it was a big breakthrough for you?
Yeah, I definitely think so, because I had a lot of issues. I was married for like 8-9 years, and I got divorced about 2 years ago, and I didn't realize how much the OCD took over. Like, I was so obsessed with my alts, and I would talk to my ex-wife about them so many times, and she would just be like, could you just stop talking about the video games and alts? And this was all I could think about sometimes. It was crazy.
Right.
And when I finally, I was told that it's OCD, and I realized it, and I listened to these podcasts, and I talked to different people about it and therapists about it, and I realized, yeah, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just OCD. I just, that's a big thing for me. I just have to accept that. There's nothing wrong with what I do. I just have to be okay with what I'm doing and who I am. And that was the hard part, but that's the most part. But the biggest gratitude is accepting it, and knowing that.
That is so good. That's great. I'm really happy to hear that.
And you're now making a YouTube series on it. It sounds that you just started up.
I'm trying to. It's mainly become my OCD habits of gaming and alts in general. But I've been putting questions out each week, and I've been getting a lot of responses.
Okay.
And I've just been doing kind of a YouTube thing with what we deal with alting and being OCD, and how do we deal with our alts? How do we deal with our games? How do we deal with the feelings, the stress, the anxiety? And I'm really surprised. So many people from public out there on Twitter and my personal friends are all jumping in. They're all giving me thoughts. They're going with different topics and reaching out. It's awesome. That's why the gaming community is just so awesome in general, because they're never, they love to share, and they're never afraid to tackle a topic, which is awesome.
That's really cool.
And what channel? What's the name of your channel on YouTube?
Well, I have a website, caber76.com. It's not. I don't think it's up at the moment because I'm transferring it to a different server, a different web server. But like, you can get everything off of there. My YouTube channel can be found on my Twitter, my caber76 Twitter. Everything is on my Twitter, but I have all my links on there. And my videos, I've got all the links to all that other stuff. So I saw something really cool. I think I was looking at somebody's website there. I think it was Sith Lord Brit. She had a really cool website, and it had all the links for everything on there. She had, her Twitter, her YouTube, her Instagram, everything. I'm like, I want to do that. That's really cool. It just kind of send everybody to one spot and have them go there. Yeah, it's really a good idea.
Is there something specifically about MMOs that draws you, or that?
With MMOs, there's two things that I love about MMOs. Number one is I just love the fact they're never over. They just keep going, and it's like you always have something new, and the community aspect of it. It's like you always have that social aspect of it. And I may not be the most social player. I don't always jump into a social guild. I run my own little guilds, but you can jump in general chat. You can join shows like I am right now with you guys. I've joined some other shows. It's you have such a big community with MMOs, and I've been playing MMOs forever, since I was like a kid. So it's just been part of my life. So
that makes sense. And awesome. Do you think, do you know when, I mean, it sounds like you only found out about OCD as a diagnosis recently, but do you know roughly when it would have started for you?
It probably would have started for me in my childhood. That's what we're still kind of going through right now. I had the habits back when I was, a child, and I would obsess things and family and different things. And it's a learning process. It's just kind of finding out about yourself. And I think as I got older, I realized how much it really had an effect on me, what I deal with. So
that's amazing. Kitty, did you have any questions for Caber then?
Yeah, I was wondering if you had any advice for maybe younger folks that, have OCD that you'd like to share with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that, you need to understand, and what you should accept, is the fact that, like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not, I may use the word crazy, but that's just my terminology on it. You're not crazy. You're not different than anybody else. You just, you have these thoughts that other people, there's so many other people out there that have OCD, and it's like, we all have these thoughts. So just be okay with who you are and what what you're about. Don't be afraid of that. If you so I make thousands of alts, whatever, and I delete them, and then I come back, whatever. That's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can play any way you want to play and do whatever you want to do. Don't be afraid of that,
Right. Is there anything that, like, gaming companies can do that would help people with OCD?
That's a really good question. I've never actually thought of it in that sense, especially, I'm obsessed with my games, so that's a really good thought. I've never thought of that. That's actually a really good topic.
Yeah, hey, for your YouTube channels.
Yeah, I think I may write that one down. That's a really good one, Chill. Very awesome. Cool. Didn't think of that.
Well, I can't wait to hear about this. I'm definitely going to check out your channel. And
that would be my dog barking. Sorry about that.
No worries. I can barely hear it.
I posted a link in chat for Caber's.
Right. And again, so it sounds like probably one of the best places to first go is his Twitter account, Caber, Kayber 76, Kayber 76. And that's his Twitter account. And then he'll have links to his YouTube and also his website and all that good stuff. Was there anything else, Caber?
No, I just wanted to thank you guys for letting me come on. I had a really fun time, and
we had a lot of fun with you. Yeah, this is great. So, and Kitty, did you have something?
No, I'm good to go.
Oh, okay.
I'm stoked that you're here, Caber. I think you're right about the gamer community. We do all kind of stick together, and sharing your story is going to help someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you. Thanks for coming, Caber. I really appreciated this.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, then. That's the show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Teal Sean server, or in our
Utini Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can give me your questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @UtiniCast. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. And once again, Caber76 at Twitter. And we record this show live bi-weekly Tuesdays 4 p.m. Pacific, streaming at twitch.tv/UtiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you, Caber.
Thank you, Caber.
Thank you.
Thank you, chat.
And we'll see you next show. And we will raid here in just a second. So I gotta keep the stream going for a moment while we figure out the raid. Let's see. Gotta get back to the good old dashboard. See, I want to use the dashboard for everything, but then it won't give me the list properly. It's all wonderfully crazy. All right. Is anyone streaming SWTOR at the moment that we? Oh, Marcus is up. Oh no, he's doing Destiny though. Hang on a sec. Let's see. He's doing Destiny. Let's see. Just a second here.
Give me 1 sec. I will be right back.
Okay.
Potty break.
So let's see. Does someone in the chat know who's doing a SWTOR, who's actually doing SWTOR now? Let's see. We can do a little raid and then we'll. All right. Well, you know what? Let's. I think. Panda. What was that? Oh, Vanash Panda. Is that right? All right, let's go. Let's try Vanash Panda then, if that's all right. Let's go say hi to Vanash Panda. Sorry, Kitty Treats. I'll have to do Smokey next time, I guess. Or I'll keep that in mind. So here we go. I do like the little icon for Vanash Panda with the little what do you call it? Oh, there's a good word for it. You know, the one eye thing. Anyway, here we go. All right, and then so we got the raid off. I'll go say hi. I always try to say hi, and then I'll stop the stream here in a sec. Hey.
Holy crap, thank you for the raid. Hello. Utini!
Vanash seems like a nice guy. I think I'll go ahead and follow him.
Hello. Welcome time.
All right, and we're going to stop the stream, stop the
Thank you.
recording.